Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline. Dylan repping that prime. And
Yeah.
Dylan, you ready to rep some other stuff? Opening day,
Yeah.
Thursday, the real
Uh,
opening day. None of this Soul series that MLB really didn't promote at all.
yeah, nasty Nestor on the mound. So let's
Ready
see
to,
which version we get.
I don't know. I was saying all last year that Nestor turned into a pumpkin. He had that magical run and then he just stopped. And I want to have faith that he'll be better.
Who would you have more faith in, Nestor or Rodon?
See, I feel like Nestor's more consistent, but Rodon I think is more talented. I would have put if Colt wasn't going, I would have said Clark Schmidt would have been a good option. I like Clark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I think he,
surprised they
yeah.
didn't just scoot everybody up one,
Well,
but
Rodon wanted to go two. Stroman wanted to be lined up for the home opener, so I get it.
against the Jays.
I mean, I have no issue with
Your
Stroman
rivals,
wanting to
the
do
Blue
that.
Jays.
But Stroman, ex-Blue Jay, I think maybe a little
Yeah, I mean,
right there. You know what I
little
mean?
little right there, little jab at him. I just people killed Stroman for not wanting to be the opening day starter. But my hot take is that I think the home opener might be more important than the opening day.
Also,
Opening day,
if
your
Cole's
fan.
only going to be out a month, like
I
if
mean,
that's what they believe in the clubhouse, I don't know. Like if that's what I believed in the clubhouse, I'd want to just stay where my spot's going to be then.
the more we wait and the more we talk, I think All-Star break is looking more and more likely because I don't believe anything the Yankees say about injuries.
I think it depends how they're doing.
Like LeMahieu needs a whole leg transplant. I'm just
Hmm. Bruised foot. I'm gonna miss the opener.
but last week we didn't do our AL East predictions. We wanted to push that off to this week. And let's get right into it. I don't know about you guys. Last place, I think, is an easy one. I think it's the Boston Red Sox.
Mhm.
By far, they have the worst roster in the division, which doesn't mean much because they're still a very solid team. They'll
Yep,
win north of 75, 78 games. They'll be pushing 80.
agreed.
Yep.
Fourth place, I think it's the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yep.
I think they are built horrifically. They're not a team built for success. I don't trust any of their pitchers. I think they got two of the most overrated offensive players in the league in Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette, not to mention Springer in center field. I just really can't stress how much I think that they missed their window of opportunity.
I
And
think they are just so inconsistent, whether it's health or play.
Yeah,
And in the AL East, that's usually like
yeah,
in the Central, we could be picking the Blue Jays to win it. But
absolutely.
in the AL
yeah.
East, their level of play isn't good enough to win it.
No, and I just think their mentality, like you see they're talking about the Yankees, and yes, I'm a Yankee fan, so I listen to it more, but like they're trying to pick fights with a team that just doesn't care about them. When you think of rivalries in the AL East, you think Yankees, Red Sox, more recently Yankees, Rays.
Hmm.
What are the Blue Jays? Like their rivals,
Low, bro.
yeah, not even. So like I don't know, I don't really trust the Blue Jays. Third place, I have the New York Yankees. I think they push for a wild card. I think they get one of the final two wild cards. Their roster construction scares me. Their injuries scare me. I'm not ready to be hurt again with high expectations. To me, they're a third place team.
Yeah, and third, I had the Baltimore Orioles. They won a lot of one-run games last year. I mentioned this in the last episode. I think losing perhaps the best closer in baseball for one who, in most recent memories, was not exactly clutch, could come back to bite them, some sophomore slumps, and in a really competitive AL East, it feels messed up to have Baltimore as the three, but that's just how I had it shaken out.
I have the Rays at 3.
Love
Uh,
this.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how they're just always kind of good, but I think, I think they're a little worse than they usually are this year. I mean, I think they're still going to be, better than the Blue Jays, and hands down better than the Red Sox, but I don't think they're better than the Yankees and Orioles in my mind.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Second place, I have the Orioles. I do think they take a step back. Playoff team still. I think their core is too young and too talented to fail. They have too many good players, and I think their rotation takes a big step forward. Gray Rod's going to be good. Corbin Burns. It hurts losing Batista and Brad and just everybody. It's just I feel that the Orioles are still going to be really good and really competitive. They might not play in as many one-run games too. So
Yeah.
I think the Orioles are second place team. I do think 1, 2, and 3 are going to battle it out pretty deep into September, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
second
yeah.
is where I had the Yankees landing. The
That's where I had
Cole
the Yankees.
injury at the beginning of the year really derailed me from being able to be confident in putting them first in the AL East. This team, everything that could go wrong basically did last year, and they were still above 500. And with all that, they were 4-9 against the Red Sox last year. If you just flip that, it's an 87 win team. Now you add Juan Soto as well. I just, I think even with the Cole injury, as long as he does come back, this team flirts with 90 wins and gets in as a wild card team.
John, who'd you have in second place?
I had Yankees too. I agree with
Yankees too.
Bill, and I like same reasoning.
Then first place, I got the Tampa Bay Rays. I think the Rays just always sneakily win when they're not expected to. I think people have been kind of down on them for some reason, and it makes no sense to me. They're always good. They always figure it out. The Rays are going to win the division. I don't think anybody in the division wins 100 games just by the nature of the division being so good. But the
Yeah, I
Rays,
think we cap at 95.
I was going to say 95, 96 is where the Rays land and win the division. And I think they win by maybe 2 games.
They're somehow just going to figure it out. That's essentially what I had. I was lower on Baltimore, lower on New York, and then I was sitting there thinking, the only team that I'm not lower on all of a sudden is the Tampa Bay
Yeah.
Rays. So they're going to figure it out, I guess.
Well, you know who I have at one, the Orioles.
John's Orioles.
Basically, I'm almost my
Orioles.
second favorite team at this point. But I'm just high on the Orioles. I mean, they have a really good, young core team right there. I mean, I think they look like they've been having a fantastic spring. I mean, Jackson Holiday's not going to be up to start the season.
Yep.
Obviously, I think that was a pretty. You could have everyone saw that coming. I think.
3 words for you: service time manipulation.
Yep. But I think when he comes up, I think he's gonna tear it up. And I think they're just gonna keep riding off the high they did last season. They're just gonna keep going and going. I don't see
Yeah.
them slowing down.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns, now the Cole's out, could be the favorite for AL Cy Young.
Think he is actually.
He's my favorite for it.
But, we'll get into those Cy Young favorites and possible winners in a little bit. But there's been kind of a dark cloud hanging around.
The NL East, did we all have the same? Nationals, Marlins, Mets, Phillies, Braves?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
obvious reasons? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I think we switched Marlins and Mets at some points. We did cover that last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, we did get that. But there's been a kind of dark cloud hanging over baseball the last couple days. And, it's a interesting and touchy subject to talk about because there's not a lot of facts. There's just a lot of opinions, and, opinions get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
So Otani, Ipe Mizuhara, his interpreter, everybody thought was his best friend. The story right now is that Ipe stole $4.5 million from Otani to pay off a bookie because Ipe Mizuhara has a severe gambling problem. He liked to bet on soccer, namely, is what they're saying. Now there's conspiracy theories and just regular theories that maybe Ipe is the fall guy for Otani. Not saying that's true or not true. We don't have the facts. Otani, the Dodgers, baseball are kind of being tight-lipped, and they really don't want to talk about that. But what do you guys really think of it? What was your initial reaction when you first heard the story? And how do you see this playing out? Has Major League Baseball handled this properly?
So I think letting things play out was the right move from the MLB. And Otani had his statement today where, he basically reiterated he wasn't involved, Ippei stole from him,
Never betted
etc.
on sports ever.
Yeah, here's
Yeah.
my thought on this. And if I'm gonna get killed in the comment section, so be it. I'll give my opinion. Either, and this is a tweet from Andrew Brandt that I think perfectly lays it out. Either Otani is not telling the whole truth, or has the worst best friend, interpreter, accountant, manager, agent, and bank ever.
Yeah.
Like something here is not coming to fruition, and I don't think the MLB wants it to come to
No,
fruition.
no.
They want this swept under the rug as quickly as possible, which is why opening day, right before that, may have actually been the best time for this, because there's about to be just a crap ton of storylines flooding MLB stuff. And by All-Star break, when Shohei Ohtani is winning MVP for that game, we'll probably not even be talking about it. But I think there was a little bit more to the story.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dylan. I mean, I think there's probably more to the story that we don't know, and I think once the investigation, finishes, we'll have a better idea of what exactly happened. But I think right now there's not really enough to make like 100% clear-cut choice of what happened or what
Mhm.
MLB is going to do. And the thing, I mean, I think it's a good decision that they're letting Otani play, obviously, because I mean, it'd be
Wonder if
bad
Pete
for
Rose
baseball.
agrees.
Did you see Pete Rose's comments?
Yeah, he said that if only he had an
Yeah,
interpreter.
he would have got away scot-free. And honestly, Otani's gonna get away scot-free. I can't imagine any world where Otani faces
I-
any type of repercussions.
The reason I can't imagine it is because the MLB wouldn't want him to.
No, it would be terrible for baseball.
I thought the FBI was involved though
Yeah, but
with the
like,
thing. That's the only thing I could see him maybe getting in trouble with.
But
no,
No
what?
he's
more
a
than a
fall guy for
fine.
a reason.
Who?
Yeah,
If the FBI is involved, and again, maybe I know a lack of details.
yeah.
Like, who's pursuing this case? Nothing illegal.
So wire fraud
Wire
is
fraud,
what
and I
legal fraud
think
would be.
it's the illegal bookie in California because
Yes.
I
that's
get.
illegal. That would be the only thing.
Yeah, so you
Yeah, if it was in
Yeah,
California, I guess
yeah,
I don't, you never know where
that's
these
it.
things take
A lot of the
place.
times,
right.
Maybe his buddy
yeah.
was taking the private to Vegas. Who knows?
So
But at the end, so there is the illegal booking in California, but regardless of that, it is considered wire fraud to wire money to a bookie
Hmm.
like that.
so
Yeah.
but
Well, I don't see Otani
Not
not
at all.
playing baseball for any reason other than injury this year.
Unless, they introduced his basketball player wife because Otani's going to take a year off from baseball to rehab his arm and play basketball professionally. We've seen stories like that before with certain basketball players with certain issues. Maybe Otani does a reverse.
Yeah. He'd
But this
probably be
whole
better at
guy,
basketball than that guy was at baseball.
maybe,
mm,
but it's just funny how his whole time in the US has been under scrutiny now. People seeing Otani at different sporting events saying, hey, that's what I look like when I'm about to lose a parlay or the over's about to hit and I had the under. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting in how this is going to play out. And we'll keep monitoring it. But until there's actual facts, there really isn't much to say outside of, theories.
well, yeah. I mean, innocent until proven guilty. And there's nothing
Exactly.
that he's right now. He's innocent.
Yeah. He's
His
innocent.
interpreter, though, not
He's gonna
doesn't
get
look
off
to.
scot-free
Oh,
He
yeah.
too.
might even
He's
get
just
off
gonna
scot
lose
free
his
too.
he's gonna lose his job, go back to Japan, and Otani's gonna keep putting the bill for that guy.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I don't even know if he actually came back to the country from the Soul series.
Probably not.
Just went
I mean, I
straight
wouldn't
back to
fire him.
Japan.
The Japan's not going to extradite him to the U.S. Tony paid him off, let him live there. They both get away. That would be the best for baseball.
Yep.
But let's get into some award predictions and some other season predictions. And the Shohei Ohtani American League MVP award is no more. Ohtani now in the National League leaves the AL MVP award up for grab. So, who do you guys have winning the AL MVP?
Yeah, so to me, this is going to be in the hands of Aaron Boone. And whoever he decides will bat third more often between Juan Soto and Aaron Judge is who's going to win the MVP. I'm going to say Judge wins it again. I think the homers are going to be there for Judge, and I think he's
I
going to
like
more
that.
consistently bat third and will have more RBIs. But to me, it's going to be a toss up between him and Soto. Nothing against Seager. What are the odds he lives up to last season again
Yeah,
and stays healthy? Jordan, he doesn't bring much to the outfield, whereas Judge, his ability to play center and right could sway some votes at the end there if things are close stat wise. But yeah, give me Judge. It's the chalk pick, but
it is, but it's a good pick. I like it. John, who do you got?
I'm taking Soto. So I
Yeah, I
think
still
being
think
in
that
he's in
guy.
a hitter friendly ballpark, I think he's gonna blast a lot of home runs, get a lot of RBIs, get on base a lot.
So I feel like it's an outfielder's award. It's, the way the American League is built, it's an outfielder. Now, I don't have Judge or Soto or any other Yankee winning the American League MVP.
well,
I have an Astro. Now, normally, I do think
ooh,
Jordan Alvarez is going to win
I
one of
don't
them,
hate this pick at all for the
but
odds,
it's not
especially.
Jordan Alvarez. I'm going Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a betting man, shout out Shohei Ohtani, I might consider picking Tucker.
I think Kyle Tucker is flying under the radar. He's a very, very good hitter.
And he'll
He's,
be batting leadoff, right?
yeah, I think,
Stolen bases.
yeah, he's a good hitter, good fielder. I think the Astros are going to be a really good team. I think he's somebody where if it's not a Yankee, I think he's going to be right there in the running.
Hmm.
Let's go NL MVP. Who do you guys got?
I'm so mad that Ben's not here because my hot take is Pete Alonso in his contract year. The Mets just signed JD Martinez, and I know that team success doesn't play a factor in these awards at a high degree. But the Braves have a ton of candidates with Olson, Acuna, Riley. The Dodgers have a ton of candidates with Mookie, Shohei, Freeman. When the Mets get into the playoffs, it will be on the back of Pete Alonso leading the NL in home runs. Another prediction for you in there. And he will win MVP, making Steve Cohen have to pay him a boatload of money.
That would be very funny because that takes them out of the Soto race too.
Yep.
John, what do you think?
I was between Mookie Betts and Acuna, and ultimately I'm gonna go with Acuna. I think he's gonna do even have a better year than he did last year. I think
Is
he's
that
gonna have
back to back for Ronald?
I'm thinking he's gonna have back to back. I mean, I think
Same.
he's gonna have more stolen bases this year, especially with I think they have the new rule about blocking the base path, and I think teams are more comfortable sending guys to steal bases now that they, had a year under that and are more familiar with the rules. And I think, you know, I just think he's gonna have another great year, even better one.
I like it. I like these picks. I'm going vanilla. I'm going Mookie Betts. I think Betts is just the best player all around on the best team in baseball. Otani, his whole thing was that he was a unicorn. He pitched and hit. He's not
Hmm.
pitching this year. So I think that unless the award is biased, that kind of takes him out of the running as a DH.
Could be the last year the award's up for grabs in the NL for a
Oh,
while.
absolutely. But I think that should take him out of the running because I don't think him as a hitter is as generational and crazy to the point where he can only DH and win the award without bringing anything to the field.
Hmm.
I don't think that's a hot take either. He's a really good hitter. He's a
Hmm.
great hitter,
Yeah.
but he needs to bring something else other than hitting to the table.
Especially being on that team.
Yes.
Like when we're watching Betts who can play shortstop, second, left,
Yeah.
right, center, and bat.
I think Betts is just going to go nuts this year. But let's keep it in the NL. Let's go NL Cy Young. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, so I feel like this is definitely where the toss up begins. I'm gonna give John and his Philadelphia Phillies some love here. I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I thought Zach Wheeler was one of the true aces. Blake Snell He's on the Giants now. I don't see him going back to back, so I think the award is up for grabs. You could say Strider, but I'm gonna give it to Zach Wheeler.
I'm giving it to Wheeler too. I mean, I think saw that he added a new pitch into his repertoire this offseason. I think that's gonna, he thinks that's gonna finally get him to, over the hump to get him the Cy Young finally.
So I was in a group chat talking to my friends last night. We're licking our wounds from a rough public March Madness, and we all like to think that we're sharps. It was a rough weekend. So we decided to, let's think about baseball, some baseball futures. And we're looking down the list. And me and my friends came to the conclusion that pitching in both leagues is just mid. It was
Mhm.
mid last year. Like Cole had not that great of a year, and he was still by far the best pitcher. Like Cole's had much better seasons than last year, and he actually won the Cy Young. Pitching is mid. Blake Snell had an incredible amount of walks last year and got the Cy Young. So I think we need to think outside the box for both the AL and NL Cy Youngs. And I'm thinking young pitchers who need to take that next step up. And if they do take that next step up, they will be all the talk. And I think because they'll be the talk of the town, they'll get more votes and they'll end up winning. So I think Hunter Green is going to come away with the NL Cy Young if he has a good step forward year.
I like that pick.
I don't even see him listed on the odds for the site that I'm looking at these odds on.
Wait till you hear my AL Cy Young if you're looking about
I like that pick though, because I mean, if he, he just, you know, doesn't give up he gives up a lot of hits, but if he, can lower that down, I mean, he's just a
Yeah,
strikeout machine.
I think he's uber talented. And I think if he takes a step forward in a weaker NL Central, I think he could dominate.
Yeah.
Let's go AL Cy Young. Who do you guys got?
Yeah, so similar to your train of thought, when I was looking at AL candidates, it was a lot of like, now that Cole's probably going to miss a ton of time and basically be out of the running, it felt like this is a 20-man race. I mean, Burns was the favorite, but not by enough of a margin, especially if we're talking about odds for me to love betting on him. So I'm gonna go with Pablo Lopez. I think the Twins are clearly the best team in the Central. I think playing the Central is going to get a lot of easier days where statistically the numbers look good. And again, like you said, it's a lot of mid. So in that sense, I'm going to take the guy that's pitching against the worst people, but is still, the one in a rotation.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
Like I said earlier, I'm going with Corbin Burns,
You and
my
your
guy on the
O's.
Orioles.
So I was stuck between two guys. Dylan, the guy I did not go with. I was in your line of thinking. I was thinking twin, talented pitcher going up against a lot of guys. I was thinking Joe Ryan. I think Joe
Mhm.
Ryan's a great pitcher. I decided not to, although I did throw a couple, a little half uni on him to win it just because, got to be
Shout
fair.
out Shohei Ohtani.
And I went with a guy that hasn't even pitched for his team yet. He came from the National League, no name guy that I think is going to a pitching factory in Tampa. Ryan Pepiot is going to be your AL Cy Young. I think
Ray's really good at Ray.
Ray's gonna Ray. We
Ray's
talked
winning
about
it all
that,
this
how they're
year.
gonna win the American League East, right? I mean, last year my big thought was Reed Detmers was gonna be the guy, and he just completely, wet the bed. But I think Ryan Pepiot is a good under the radar pick. He's at plus 10,000. I looked yesterday,
Jesus.
and it really is anybody's race. And he's a guy that nobody really knows in the American League on a really good team in a strikeout heavy division. I think he's a guy that could come on the scene like Shane McClanahan, Glass now, Blake Snell back when he was with Tampa, somebody that can really step in and dominate out of nowhere. But let's go to the rookie of the years. Give me both your American and National League because I don't think these are too much of a debate.
Yeah, I actually have some answers that may lead to debate, but it's fine. I think that the Rookie of the Year has recently become a non-pitchers award. Just my take on it. So for that, In the NL, I'm going Jung-Ho Lee. And in the AL, I'm going Evan Carter. I just think he plays more than Jackson Holiday. I don't think he's necessarily better, but a guy who just played a big role on a World Series winning team. I think he's starting day one, whereas Jackson Holiday just doesn't get those reps in.
That's a good one. What do you think, John?
For my NL, I'm going with Jackson Churro, and AL, I'm going with Evan Carter for the same reason Dylan is, just because I think Jackson Holiday probably would win it if he started, day one.
Yeah.
But since he's not going to be brought up till May, I think Evan Carter is going to take it.
So my National League, I'm going Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I mean, I think they need to get the stink off the Dodgers. They're going to give it to Yamamoto. Struggled in spring training. Think he'll bounce back fine in the regular season. I think it's going to be tough for any National League player to win it over him, just for the sake of the sweet money and dollars coming out of Japan for him. Now for the American League, I was thinking Jackson Holiday, but the whole service time manipulation is going to make his playing time a little lesser. So I'm going with a young guy who made an opening day roster in Wyatt Langford with the Rangers. I think
Two
he's
Rangers with Evan Carter and Langford.
a good team, really
Yeah.
good team. And I think it's going to be a fun battle. I think Langford, he's born in 2001. He's 22 years old. These guys are just young.
Make me feel old.
Younger than us.
I mean, Jason Dominguez was born in 03 and he debuted last year. But let's go to the manager of the year. Who's your AL and NL managers of the year?
Yeah, so you're gonna have to be my name guy because you know me, I'm not strong with the names of managers, but give me the Twins manager as the AL manager of the year. I really think this team pushes over 90 wins.
Is that Rocco Baldelli still?
Sure.
Let me double
And
check this. It is still Rocco Baldelli.
awesome. And then in the NL, give me give me give me the new Cubs manager.
That would be Craig Counsell.
Yeah, comes in and wins the division.
All right. I like them. I like them. John?
For my AL, I'm going with AJ Hinch, Detroit. I think the Detroit Tigers manager. I think the Tigers are going to be on the up and up this year. I think, start doing a little better. And then for the NL, I'm going to go with Craig Counsell, the new Cubs manager.
I think this is the first
Central
time,
Love.
I think this is the first time all three of us actually agreed on an award. I'm also going Craig Counsell.
The
I
Central
thought-
Love. The
then-
Central Love.
I'm telling you, it's going to be the most fun.
Yeah.
That's the most fun division this year.
And I think the AL is going to go to Joe Espada with the Astros, filling in for Rusty. I think he's gonna, or Dusty, I should say, for Dusty Baker. I think he's gonna fill in those shoes fine, and the Astros are going to be more than fine as a good team. Now, who's going to lead the league in home runs? Who's your AL and NL home run leaders, and about how many do you think they're going to end up hitting?
So I spoiled this earlier. Pete Alonso in the NL. Let's put him at 55. Big year from Pete. In the AL, we'll keep it chalk. We'll go Judge. We'll say 49.
Nice. I like that. I really want that to happen. John?
I have the same guys, just different numbers. So I have 51 for Alonso and 41 for Judge.
All right, I got neither of those guys. I got Yordan Alvarez with 45, and I got Mookie Betts with 42. Mookie is going to go nuclear, protected by Ohtani with Freeman. Think he's the guy that's going to benefit the most.
Yeah.
But as we're getting to the end of this, the last thing I want to discuss, what's your World Series matchup? Who wins and how many games do we go?
So
Give us a little story build up to this.
yeah, so out of the NL, I think we are going to see the chalk NLCS of Dodgers Braves. But I do think this year the Braves take it, they get over the hump back to the World Series without having Ohtani pitch. I think that the Braves have the pitching advantage. In the AL, man, as currently constructed rosters, I can't in good faith pick the Yankees to make the World Series. I'll pick them to lose in the ALCS to Houston, setting up Braves Astros again. I'm going to give it to the Braves, though. I just think this is the year that this roster lives up to its potential. I know that they've won a World Series recently, but this iteration of the roster, this is their time.
A little revenge for the 90s action. I like it.
I'm gonna say that they win it in 5 too. I don't think it's close.
What do you think, John?
I'm going with. I feel like it's been no surprise. Phillies Orioles. Phillies winning it in 6,
Phillies, Orioles.
solely based off the fact that the two times the Phillies have won a World Series, 1980 and 2008, was on a leap year, and it is a leap year this year. So it's confirmed they're gonna win.
But there's also been other leap years in between.
No,
1980.
They weren't good. They have to be good. They're good. They're good.
they weren't good other leap
They
years.
weren't good the other leap years.
They were terrible in 2012.
You
Yeah,
asked for a
see?
narrative, now you got
But
one.
they're
I
good
got that
now.
narrative. So
When
for
they're
me,
good and it's a leap year, they win.
hey, I think the Phillies are making the World Series too. I got them losing in 5 to the Astros. So a little combo between you guys. I think the Astros they're just good. They have the experience. Experience is going to win. Their window's closing. I don't think that they have many more years as a dominant team left. And we kind of see the Rangers overtaking them slowly but surely. And the Rangers would have started it even more last year. I know they won the World Series, but they kind of choked in the regular season and kind of fell down a bit. But I
Let
think
the Yankees trade for Shane Bieber, bring in Jordan Montgomery. I'll flip-flop my pick so quick.
I do have the Yankees
They
somehow
might
making
get
it to the
Montgomery.
ALCS and losing in 4 to the Astros.
Dude, I just can't see it again. I'd rather them lose sooner. Somebody else take the Yankees out. If they make the ALCS and lose to the Astros, even though I predicted it, just put me out of my misery somewhere else.
Words right out of my mouth. Just put me down like Old Yeller at that point. Just, I don't want to live in this world. We can't have it. But that's going to do it here for us. Keep tuning in. Opening day this week, Thursday. We'll be covering it all year. So keep tuning in to the Outsider Sports Baseball podcast and lock it in with us all season long.